Everything that we reviewed so far has all been the athletes.
Yeah.
How are we looking for replica, Rob?
All right.
That was very convincing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking to you about Adidas and their offering at the 2022 World Cup. So we've got an amazing array of shirts here. There's been so much talk about the Adidas shirts and just how much praise they've had from within the kit community. Really hard to get your hands on most of these kits, particularly the player issue ones, but we were out in Dubai and we're able to get our hands on some of the product from out there. So super excited to go through them.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got to give a shout out to Subside Sports as well, because we've also been supplied with a lot of stuff from Subside.
So if you want shirts, go to Subside Sports and get them from there.
Yeah, exactly. So Adidas, I think in general, have absolutely knocked it out of the park for this World Cup. They've definitely templated it, which is fine. You know, there's no major deal with that, because like I always say, when you talk about templates, it's really difficult. If you've come up with the optimum football kit for an event, you're going to want to give that to all of the teams, which is, rather than calling it a template, it's the best solution for that particular athlete.
So if you were designing Formula One cars, both drivers get the car. One doesn't get one that's got like a sunroof and big rims and stuff on it.
Nice analogy, that.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, it's all good. But so going back to the two that I think were really smart, I've always loved a Japan kit. Beautiful. Really nice fabrication, a little similar to the Nike offerings where they've got this jacquard body mapping. But what I love about it is the details down the side, kind of red tape that runs down that's got Japan written all the way through it.
In English and Japanese.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just a nice aesthetic. It comes round really nicely.
And that's not easy to make that at all, is it?
No, not at all. Loved that. And then the badge itself, I think, is really nice. There's loads of detailing in the badge. Actually, the way they've executed the Adidas badge, I think, is really nice.
Yeah.
But what it was that got me on this is the three stripes. Now, to look at it from a distance like that, so if you look at it straight on, it's just
the three white stripes that we know and love.
But if you look really closely to it, it's got this added little detail of the red in there. And that's actually being raised.
So it's basically one knitted panel through the shoulder here that's been inserted, and they've used a 3D knit technique to raise up the stripes and then coloured in the side walls of it.
Exactly.
It's just a beautiful
such a nice detail. But then you could almost wear the bloody thing inside out, because you flick it over and it's
the colour of the side walls.
Exactly.
Oh, look at that.
And it's really quite nice. So I'm a big fan of them, big fan. And then the away kit for the Japanese is actually being done in collaboration with Nigo. Nigo is a Japanese artist, part of the whole Bathe the Ape crew and all that sort of stuff. So again, culturally, right on point. And I think, again, they've just taken it to a slightly different level.
Yeah.
I think with a lot of the Adidas kits, you kind of know what you're going to get. They're very Germanic. They're quite straight up and down. But for me this season, I just think they've taken it
It's a lot more ambitious, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Seeing it, we saw it on display in the Adidas store in Dubai, and seeing it all together as a collection with the training wear, with some of the leisure wear and stuff, it really brought it home as to how tied together all of it is, but everything has got very much its own identity which suits each nation. It doesn't feel like this is how Adidas would design for that country. It feels like this is what's right for that country at this moment in time.
Definitely. And one of the things that we've criticised them for in the past is the hanger appeal. We talk about hanger appeal, and as much as once that's hung up on a rail, I think it was a Real Madrid kit that we reviewed.
There was a lot of the Adidas kits from last season that we ripped apart. Right?
Yeah, and the inside necklines were awful, whereas they've absolutely nailed it on all of them. So if you were to take that, you take the home kit, you know, I've even got an Argentinian kit here. All of the back necks have just been done really nicely. So love those two. Marks out of 11 for that. Honestly, I'm going to do it again. That for me is an 11.
Wow.
I absolutely love the Japanese home kit. Think it's absolutely superb, and I like the away kit.
The colours are a bit Marmite.
The colours are definitely,
but they're ambitious.
Yeah, they're really good. That's going to be an absolute cult classic.
Good job it's ours, isn't it?
Yeah. We might actually give this one away.
Shall we?
Yeah, I think we should.
If you want us to give it away, like, subscribe, and press the little alarm button underneath the video. We need to be incentivised to give this away because it's going to be worth a fortune in a few years.
Absolutely.
Gotta make it worth our while.
So 11 out of 11. I'd give that maybe 7. But the one I really want to talk about is what I think is going to go down as one of the holy grail kits of all kits, and that's the Mexico away kit, which has got this absolutely superb print. You cannot get a hold of this kit for love nor money. It's just selling out. As soon as they restock it, it just sells out within seconds. But again, I just think the aesthetic of it is really nice. The fabrication's really nice. The back neck detailing, the Aztec details throughout. It's just a thing of absolute beauty.
And there was a limited edition version that I think was only sent out for PR and influencers that came in.
Oh, did you not get one of them? Oh, I got one of them. Do you not get one?
Do you know, I know you're joking, but it would not surprise me. The
No.
jammiest person I've ever met.
Yeah, I definitely got one.
If you haven't seen it, it came in like an Inca coin. Craig didn't bring it with him today, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but it came in like the packaging was the style of an Inca coin, and it was full of like, paper, straw. It was like something out of the Crystal Maze, which, if you've never heard of it, don't worry, it wasn't very good anyway. But it's just phenomenal. Again, just so thought through.
Great. So again, I would give that 11 out of 11.
12 out of 11, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I just love it.
Yeah.
It might be the colours.
So then, next up, the Argentinian kit, which I think is really nice. What I like about this particular kit is the little stripes down the back, which I think is just quite a nice
really
little detail. And I like the crests and stuff that they've put on. Same template again. But
a little bit of difference through the cuff on that.
I just love an Argentinian kit. I've always liked them. I like the colours of them, so I quite like that. Then I'll leave you to do these ones because I'm sick of talking now.
Fair enough. It's about to get worse because the Brummy's talking now. Activate the subtitles. So the Belgium kits, I think credit to the designers. So we've got the away and the home here, but credit to the Belgian Football Association for saying, yep, we will sign up for a shirt that's got flames on the sleeves. The socks have got flames on.
Yeah. Well, I think the short for that's like a camo, isn't it?
Yeah. We talked about the colour palette for that Japan away shirt. This thing is just next level.
Yeah, brilliant.
So we reviewed the Nike shirt that we really like, the France shirt that had got the knitted detail through the cuff, and we talked about that being flat knit versus circular knit, and we referenced
not quite
Belgium.
as nice though, is it? I've got to be honest.
It's not beautiful, but it's flat. I mean, just inside you can see the level of stitching and yarns that they've put through it.
Yeah.
It's an amazing piece.
It is nice.
The level of detail in it.
And what about this, Rob?
Yeah, love in the back of the shirt, which sounds like it should have been like a cover version of an AC/DC track or something. So at the time of filming this, FIFA are asking the Belgian Football Association to take this out the back of the shirt or make sure that it's not ever going to have the possibility of being visible on pitch at the World Cup, which
is just absolutely mental.
Yeah.
I believe the replica version of that, though, has got the love on the outside.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Okay. With this, again, they've got the detail through the shoulder that we talked about before. There's different colours on the side walls.
So turn that inside out, and that's how they've managed to do it.
Yeah.
So where on the Argentinian one and the Mexican one, where they've just got the singular colour up the side walls, when you turn them to the inside, you'll see how that's been done. Whereas on the Belgian kit, they've wanted 2 colours on it, and that's why you've obviously got the 2 colours there as opposed to the 1 colour. It's just really, really clever.
We talk a lot about innovation on the channel, and usually we think about it through the perspective of benefits to the athlete. But I think what's really interesting with what we've seen with the Adidas stuff is that this is innovation that's for design purposes, but it doesn't hinder the athlete. It's a feature that's got to be there. And so it's just been executed as well as it possibly can be.
Yeah.
I think with this, if I was to mark it out of 11, as a shirt, I'm going to give it a strong 9. I think as a full outfit, I'd give it the 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
With the shorts?
Yeah. It's one of those where it almost feels unfair to just look at it in isolation. And I think if they'd had even just regular pink shorts or orange shorts, it would have dialed it down a bit. But the job that they've done head to toe through both the Belgium kits, I mean, this one, I don't love the flames, but it's a personal preference thing. Obviously, Belgium are the Red Devils, and so it makes a lot of sense to have the flames involved. Not something I am fond of.
I like it.
But I think on the right player or the right fan, I think it would look really cool. But then again, as a whole outfit, you get to the socks and it just feels awesome. It's just, again, it's that next step of thinking about what kits can look like. So for this one, don't love it as much as this. It feels a little bit more predictable, so I'm going to drop down to an 8 on that. But as an outfit, again, I'd bump it up another mark and give it a 9, because to see that level of knit structure in the socks is amazing.
And how are we looking with regards to pretty much everything that we've reviewed so far has all been the athletes?
Yeah.
How are we looking for replica, Rob?
All right.
That was very convincing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all right. We then start getting back into kind of the expected of Adidas, where the 3 stripes are the ribbon that's running over the shoulder that's taped and stitched on. I mean, as you'd expect from them, it's all right. It's not especially nicely finished inside. They've managed to keep this detail down here, which, as we said before, is quite expensive and put together nicely. So it's good to see that that's carried through onto the replica, particularly this German one that's got the 3-colour tape on it. There's nothing that really surprises me other than this detail down the side, whereas the authentic shirts, there's a lot of really pleasant surprises in terms of how they've executed things.
Yeah.
And then we get into the replica, and they do a good job of looking like the authentic shirts, which I guess is the point of a replica. But if we were looking at these as being the typical replica price point these days, which is 65 to 70 pounds, and you compare that to, I know we paid over the odds for some of those because we were overseas.
Yeah, but they're still about
120,
120 quid, yeah.
The value for money in these far outstrips the value for money in these. It's a perfectly passable replica shirt. They've got really good colour consistency throughout all the shirts that we've seen. But it just lacks that wow factor that you get on the authentic jerseys. So I'm probably going to score that about a 6, certainly the German one. And I would say they're mostly going to be 6s and 7s throughout. And it's really this that's giving it the high mark, because that is a really high value detail.
I think that's a decent quality fabric, though, to be fair, for a replica.
I don't know if I'd agree.
I mean, considering some of the other replica fabrics that we've seen.
Yeah. I mean,
It's got
more
a nice,
textural
yeah,
interest.
it's got a nice piqué to it.
Yeah, it just feels a bit
bad. Let's
dry
have a
and
look at this
squeaky.
Mexican one, though. We really are back into that fabric. Is it the same as the German one? I don't think
No,
it is.
it's not. It's a lot softer. It's got a certain amount of the texture to it, but no, it's a different knit structure. It's a fairly typical mock eyelet. An eyelet would be holes that go right the way through, and you can see the skin. A mock eyelet is where the hole only goes part way through the material, and then it's flat and solid behind that.
That's a great looking kit, though.
That's awesome. Awesome. With that one, I would score it higher because, again, it's got that little bit more
The graphic is
ambition
really
in
quite
terms
nice
of the graphic.
as well.
Yeah, and it's a placed graphic. It's not just an all-over print.
Yeah, that's a really good point, yeah. So place graphic is to get that graphic in and around that neckline, whereas something like this, the fabric is just made on a roll, it's knitted, so you get the detail all over, whereas this, that's quite an expensive process to do because they've all got to sit in this particular
Exactly the right
area.
place, yeah.
And if you see where the graphic has actually got the shards coming out there, all of them will have to be placed. So I would argue that if we had another 5 of these, they would all have the graphics in exactly the same place, and that in itself is quite a trick. And it's the same with the graphics on the arms as well.
Yeah, and we did review some Nike Latin kits, and it was a little bit all over
Yeah,
the
off
place.
kilter. Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, out of all the offerings that Adidas have done for the World Cup, the ones that jump out for me are certainly Japan and Mexico, and potentially the Belgian stuff, but that's more as a full outfit. Whereas I would totally rock that with just a pair of jeans all day long.
Yeah, it's
I think
great.
it's just a cracking kit.
I feel like that graphic would hide a multitude of sins as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's always a bonus.
Anyway, well, that's it. We're done.
So yeah, we'd love to get your thoughts on these shirts. Did you manage to get a Mexico away shirt? Did you get the Japanese one? Quite unlikely that you did, but if you did, we'd love to know what country you found it in, how hard was it to get, and were you satisfied with it? Any other comments you've got? Have we scored too highly? Have we been a little bit harsh on the replicas? We'd love to know. We would love for you to subscribe, and we would especially love for you to join our Patreon community. Get a little bit more in depth into why we've scored these shirts so highly. Every month you'll get brand new content, kit design competitions, Q&A, special guests, and we even do community spotlights where people from the community get invited into the studio with us for a chat and to show off their collection. So we would love if you could join us over there. We will hopefully see you back here on YouTube next time.
You're getting quite good at doing them. Anyway, see you later. It does as well, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then just scrap all of that I've just talked about, because that's not going to work. Then.
Snip.
Right, so hell, man.
Do your research.
Yeah, do me research first.